What's up, it's your boy Renegade X, the one that you love to hate. I've come back with another podcast, and this time, Bria is the one that came up with the topic for this one. It's called do the do's and don'ts in relationships and how to make them work better. So, tell the people what you mean about that, Bria.
Well, I was actually thinking how a lot of people, when they're in relationships, they are messing it all the way up. Like, they are playing different games with each other, and then a lot of people are walking around looking how to make what they have stick. So, I was thinking that since your podcast is more on like the deeper things that it'd be something that people could relate to, and maybe somebody listening, it could help them out a little bit.
Mark, you got anything to say to that? Anything to say?
Oh no, you just asking about pretty much the reason for the title and everything. So I really don't have anything to add to it.
So, Bria, anything more you gotta say before I have to say anything?
Um, well, if you don't mind, if you want to get it rolling, I have a few notes for
Mm-hmm.
things on. I separated my notes in the what makes it work and what makes it fall apart. So, if you wanted to start with one of those, then we could go down the line and uh, talk about the different subjects here.
Okay.
Um, well, the first thing I wrote under what makes it work is open and real communication. And I know like people are like, oh, we talk, we send text messages, we like make sure whatever. But when I was my bad, my controller bad. But why I
Okay.
put real was, not a lot of people connect, on that fourth wall kind of level and actually say what they're feeling. Like, if your significant other is doing something that you don't like, people deal with it in different ways. They may clam up, they may just hold it inside and it comes out in resentment and different things like that, as opposed to just saying, hey, this is my issue. Can we fix it? So, what do you think about open communication and why do you think it's important?
Yes, communication is a big factor when it comes to relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at my uh, little notes there in this website of the do's and don'ts in relationships. It's talking about I'll tell you the first couple of things it says on here. It says attunement, accurately tuning quotations into another person means that you get to them. Oh, Mike don't know. Fell out the party. Let me see if I can accurately accurately tune in into another person means that you get them. When intimate partners in I cannot say the word resonate
Mm-hmm.
with each other's minds, heart, and soul experiences, they understand how their thoughts and behaviors will affect them before they speak. Their knowledge drives what they do and say to help each other feel truly seen and heard. And the other one is transparency. Intimate partners share their internal experiences with each other because they feel it's safe to share them. Successful partners do not hold back thoughts, feelings, or intended behaviors. That might at some time affect the other partner. Both partners agree that they would rather know the truth no matter what the outcome is.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much the whole thing with communication. Like, and I think people don't really think about it as much, but if you like are 100% authentically yourself and just straight up with the other person, despite how hard it may be, if that person uh, is a good fit for you and they're willing to do the same, like you can have something dynamic. Um, what do you think, Dark?
Oh, what, communication?
Yes.
Mhm.
That shit's important. Because if we don't communicate, I'm not about to sit here and try to figure out what's going on in your head. So you better open that
Mhm.
damn mouth and talk.
Yeah.
I don't like
Did-
communicating, but if situation comes up, I'll do it. It's a bitch, but I'd rather have it out than hold that shit in, because I ain't trying to choke nobody.
I'm glad you know that, and I hope you remember that. You know, sometimes, sometimes it's just hard to talk, especially when you got shit going on. But yeah.
I'll try to keep
Mm.
that in mind. Hold it to the
Uh huh.
heart. Be more
Uh
open. Because I don't understand what's going on with other people sometimes. We ain't all been through the same things. But if people,
huh.
would just communicate and just try to make me understand, it would be so much easier instead of playing. But yeah, communication. I like such.
that, that is a great segue. To the next. I was saying humor and friendship. I think humor and friendship is literally the base and core of everything. And I think Mike said it best one time when he said marriage isn't like about the legality of it, it's about the bond you share. And I think one of the foundations of that bond is being able to laugh and be free with that person. Um, yeah, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. One of the main things that I run across when it comes to a relationship is that people don't understand. They base it more on the financial standpoints or the what am I getting out of it, the benefit standpoint, than the bonds that they have with each other. And so it kind of throws things off, to be honest, because those things can waver, but the bond can too. But I mean, if you're focusing on building that bond, that trust, the love, the connections that y'all share that bring y'all closer together, then the relationship has a much higher chance of succeeding.
Mm. What do you think, Renegade?
Yeah, I gotta agree with my session when it comes back to communication. I just overall feel like if you cannot be yourself around your partner, then what's the use of being in a relationship? Because a relationship, how I see it, is like two two beings accept each other no matter what their flaws are.
I think it should be you just fucking your best friend. That's really essentially what it
And
is.
sometimes you get accused of that when you're not.
Another thing I was thinking about since we since we talk about fucking, intimacy is a huge thing too. I think a lot of people either don't make time for it or they play around with it. Either they're like looking at other people for it or whatever. But I think that there's something about being intimate, and that doesn't just mean having sex. It's just that closeness and affection and touch and different things like that. Um, that really like bring you together with that person in a way that you can't be together with anyone else. Because you can love somebody else, but you can't be intimate with everybody, and you can't share intimacy with everybody. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's one place people are slacking. Dark.
What? What? What you talking about?
Intimacy.
Why is
Oh,
it important in a relationship?
is it? I'm playing. I mean, get what you got when you got it working. I don't fucking know. Do what you do. I'm really not one. I don't care. All that stuff. It just depends on the situation. Different strokes, different folks.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Michael?
Yeah, true enough. Yeah, intimacy is important because that's another one of those things. Like you just said, it's something you should only share with your significant other, and that brings you in a closer level than you would with anybody else. And so that's another one of those things that helps with that bond.
Hmm. And also, like, knowing that it's exclusive and that they're not fucking with anybody and you're not fucking with anybody and that you and them are your sole channels for those emotions. I don't know. The
Hmm.
security of knowing that is dope.
Trust. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, yeah. What do you think, Renegade?
Yes, intimacy is important. It's very important, to get to know the person and everything like that. I just feel like a lot of people these days don't really care about, intimacy like that. They just want to have sex just to have sex.
Hmm. That's true too.
Everybody.
I was thinking also, on another thing. A lot of things those are like the obvious things, but like when you get down to the deeper things, um, I was thinking one thing that I see a lot of couples that are getting it right doing, and a lot of couples that aren't getting it right aren't doing, is respecting each other and giving each other space. I think that when people think about a relationship, they think about like two people inseparable all the time, and where he goes I go, where she goes I go. No, i feel like I feel like not everybody's wired that way. If that's how your relationship is, then kudos. But I can speak from personal experience. I don't like that shit. I need my space. I need like you to respect it, especially if my life experiences in play. Like I need you to back up until like I'm ready. And that's not like all the time, but I feel like when you were like kind of like you were talking about, Renegade, when you tune into a person, when you see that they have needs like that, then if you love them and if you're trying to make that work, then you have to figure out a way to adjust to that. Because especially with those particular things, people who aren't used to being respected or given space, or who need respect and space, which you should be respecting them regardless, but respecting that part of them is important. And yeah, what do you guys think?
I'll let Mike say what he got to say, then I'll say something.
Okay.
Yeah, respect is a huge issue. One of the things that's been a huge bane in my relationship is the lack of respect here, and that's because we all come into a relationship with expectations of who supposed to be doing this or somebody's supposed to be a certain way. And one of the things in my relationship is my wife expected men to be similar to her father. And so when she didn't see some of the qualities in me that she saw in her father, then she started disrespecting me because she thought I was less of a man for not being able to do the things he could do or be the way he was. And that's something I had to work out of this situation over time. Like, you need to respect everybody, their differences. I didn't come up like your father did. I didn't come up like the men in your household did. I came up on in a whole nother town, a whole nother way with other men around. So it 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 was a huge issue. And just like you were saying, bro, people are different and people need to respect those differences.
Hmm.
Because I mean, if you want it to work out, that's just something that's gotta happen.
Yes. You were saying, Renegade?
Only had one relationship. I've never had another one ever since. But what I'm about to say, this really doesn't pertain, like the boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. This really pertains to just in general, though. I really feel like nobody really respects me, really. Not only do I feel it, but I can also see it by their actions. So,
You
yeah.
had my respect, so yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate
Ditto.
that. I appreciate that.
Because the moment you were like, I said okay, I was like, you right. I felt like I was in trouble.
No, I wasn't
Yeah,
really mad. No, you can tell when I get mad, it's not pretty. It's not.
Oh, I held in a Thor God of Thunder joke. I'm so proud of myself. Andrea?
I guess
I'll
Dominus
speak
is
for
not
her.
there.
She likes respect in space.
Oh yeah.
She like it a lot.
I forgot to mention space.
She like it.
I forgot to
She
mention
like it a lot.
space.
But I kind of like what Mike was saying. And I was, that was kind of led into my next point, to be real with you. Like, when you have a situation, like, you have to respect the person that you're with, because if not, you're not going to take them seriously. You're not going to consider their feelings. You're not going to be 100% in the relationship, in my personal opinion. Like, I've had a couple of relationships, and for one thing, I demand, like, people in general throughout life have treated me like shit, but in relationships, like, where I agree to be in this, I demand it. Amongst my groups of friends, especially like around the dudes, since I like hang around probably more dudes than I do females, I demand respect. Not in a like a, oh, give me what I want, but it's like, you demand respect by the way that you act. So I feel like in a relationship, if there's a lack of respect, there's, you need to show it, and then you need to be somebody respectable.
True.
And it's huge, because we can't be looking at our relationships as in this person needs to do this, and that. If anybody's listening to this podcast, that's not what it's about. These are things that both parties need to be participating in and making conscious efforts towards, because that's what even makes a relationship to begin with. You have people with efforts. Nigga, you don't get to talk unless you actually talking. I ain't even reading it. But like, if you're not, I don't know, if you're not there, then, you need to, everybody's got to come. You know what I mean? Oh God. I'm so sorry. I'm so immature. But everybody's got to come like with 100% in. And if you're holding back and you're looking at the other person like they need to be doing this for me, you don't really respect them. And that means that if you're looking for that other person to like give respect, or you're always not just like, if a person's not respecting you, that's one thing. But if you're looking at them for everything, that's not good either, because that's showing something in you. So you need to show respect and be respectable. And just like you need to give a person space, you need to take some space too, because we're, another part of being in a relationship, I think that's really important, is maintaining your individuality to a degree. Does anybody know what I'm talking about when I say that? Well, what do you think?
You can edit this part out real quick, Renegade, when you get to it. Dark said her mom's in the room, and she sent you something she wanted to say on this, Bree. So while we talk about it, if you want to read it, that's cool.
Damn it! I'm sorry. Okay.
No problem.
From the great and mighty darkness. I like my space a lot. I like my space a lot. I'm alone. girl, if you want me to read something for you, you got to like my space a lot. But I'm a loner. But when I'm with you, I'm with you. That means you got my focus, and I give a damn about and I give a damn about anyone else around as long as you okay. I don't give a damn about anyone else around as long as you're okay. I'm okay. You want space? Go. I can handle doing my own thing, and I expect the same out of my partner.
Cool.
So she did it. I agree with Dark. And that's really what I was saying earlier. If you're 100, you're 100. You're in, you're in. You know what I mean? So you can't be doing this whole tit for tat. Do you respect me? Do I, you like all this other, like, you gotta give it, and then you also gotta be respectable and just, I don't know. But it's also very important, Mike, I need to make this point, that you're working with someone who's viewing it the same way that way. Because if you're not, then it's not going to work, because you'll be given 100 and that other person won't be. Whether they intentionally do it or unintentionally do it, they won't be giving you what you're giving, and that creates an imbalance. And relationships can't thrive in imbalance for long, at least.
True.
Yeah. But yeah, you were saying something about individuality. Apologize.
That's what I wanted to
I mean,
I'm sorry.
oh,
Mike.
go ahead, Renegade. No, you good. You got this one.
I just wanted to say a statement for the space thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there be some people out there that just be clingy. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, this wasn't exactly a relationship, but this was a person I've encountered on the internet. They were just trying to contact me so much. I'm like, I ain't talked to them for 2 minutes and they thought I was mad. And I'm like, brother, can I just live my life? I'm not trying to be on the phone for 24/7 trying to talk to you. I know you went through some things, but come on, man. I gotta try to live my life, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And Darkness had mentioned, I'm with you, so obviously respect you to some extent. I wouldn't be with someone I didn't like in that sense. And that's true too. You got to make sure that those initial feelings are there, because if not, that it's less likely that that person is going to respect you. And if they don't respect you, they're not going to do, just like Renegade was talking about, they're not going to give you your space. They're not going to give you anything. They're not going to even consider your feelings enough to push themselves past themselves. And that includes with, they won't respect your wanting to be an individual, and they won't want to be an individual.
I don't mind having some attention, but if you bring it down my neck, back up, please.
I mean, it depends on the situation, but yeah. Dark, anything on individuality?
I'll swing back to it. This nigga's still in here, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you good. But yeah, so Michael, you were gonna say something about individuality.
Yeah, essentially, I mean, before getting in any serious relationships, I mean, we spend a good part of our lives developing some sort of individuality as we come up. And a good bit of that stays with us until we pass away. So when we get in those relationships, it's going to be included in there. One of the issues I ran into was, I love watching anime. Well, my wife, she didn't grow up watching any kind of cartoons, anime, and stuff like that. So one of the things they believe around here is cartoons is for kids. So she came in one day, looked at the anime I was watching, she's like, oh, you watch cartoon, that's for kids. And then that was a big blow. So, I mean, she actually had less respect for me from that day forward, just because I watch anime. And so that was something I grew up on, watching cartoons and anime. So I mean, it's a part of me. That's a part of my individuality. And I mean, so that's just a small sample of what you're talking about. You gotta respect other people's individuality. You have to take time to understand who that person is.
And we had like touched on it a lot just in pure conversation. I think it's because in this relationship conversation, it's all tied together. If you're doing one, it's going to help you do the other kind of thing. But we had talked about consideration. My next points were consideration and empathy. When we like, and those are totally different. Like when we're considering a person's feelings, and that kind of we've hit that. But when it comes to empathy, like taking that person's feelings on to yourself, like loving them on that deep of a level, and I guess this ties in with intimacy as well. That's something that is essential for a relationship to work, to thrive. Like you have to care in your bones. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't imagine being in a relationship where empathy wasn't something I was doing and something the person wasn't doing for me, because then, especially being the person I am, like you wouldn't understand me if you weren't capable of some level of empathy, you know? What do you guys think? Do you think empathy is important, and why?
Yeah, empathy is important. It's like, I'm gonna touch on what Mike said about him watching anime and his wife. I don't know, didn't like that or anything. You gotta understand, people are not the same. They don't do the same things as you. Of course they're gonna have different interests. You may not like what that person do, but like I said, it comes back with the, flaws things. You just got to deal with it. That's how they are and how they grew up and all that. I grew up on video games and anime. I'm a nerd, yes. I just don't look like Urkel. I don't wear suspenders. Oh yeah, I'm a nerd, and people gonna have to deal with that, whether they like it or not.
And in the words of Darkness, I'm a nerd, and people. No, she didn't say that. I just. So, what do you think? Where do you think the empathy lies, Mike? Like, how? I guess where on the scale do you find it in a relationship, and why is it important?
Though it may be deeper with or should be deeper with your significant other, this instance in itself is about the empathy I have, like with my children. And my son was being bullied at school some years back, and it got to the point that he would literally cry and just try to fake sick because he didn't want to go to school to deal with it. And on a level of empathy, it's like, I felt it so deeply, my blood began to boil, and like I was just driven to get to that school and deal with the situation immediately. And so I went up there, I dealt with it. Both of them came to the office, and it got resolved. I mean, but that drive, empathy, when you feel what the other person in your life is feeling, then I mean, not only do you have that understanding, you also can like deal with situations a lot more fluently, or efficiently I should say, because of that connection.
Yeah.
So
Okay. My bad. But and I thought when you started, I almost thought to myself, like, empathy, I think that anybody walking into a relationship needs to already have empathy installed, if that makes sense. Mochi, why are you biting me? It's like that's something you need to be, just like a decent human being. And I feel like if you're walking into a relationship and you don't even have the basics of that equipped, you need to turn your ass around and walk right up out of it. Because I mean, a person who lacks empathy in a relationship is like a bull in a china shop. You're only going to do damage, and when you're in a relationship, you are vulnerable to one another. And it requires delicate touch and feeling and almost like surgeon-like precision in some areas. You got to be willing to bend and break even in some areas. And if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to take someone else on as your own, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good at all. And
100% true.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, so now, like, those are kind of like the basics I was thinking of. And then I was thinking of like, okay, well, we know what makes a relationship work, but I think that one major thing, especially with like, I'm not even gonna say like a younger generation. I'm thinking like just people in general, the way the world is, where are people going wrong? You know what I mean? Because they're doing it, and the divorce rate, I think it's up to 60 now, 60%. So it's like there's things going wrong. So I was thinking of some really simple like things that people are doing that, if you're doing this in your relationship, you should reevaluate it and see, one, do you need to be in it, or two, you need to change, because what you're doing is killing your relationship. And I think we touched on it earlier. I think you touched on it earlier, Renegade, when we first even introduced open communication. You were like, there has to be a level of trust there, and that's where people are going wrong. My first point was there's a lack of trust, and underneath that, I was jealousy, insecurity, not just with, oh, are they sleeping with this person, but do you lack in trust of who they are? Do you lack in trust of what they're capable of, or do you lack in trust in just the little things, and are you being trustworthy? So what do you guys think that a lack of trust, jealousy, and insecurity are damaging to relationships?
Highly.
Yes.
Very highly.
Okay, so see how I can explain this. Let's take this for example, that a girl, had this relationship, and they broke up because, I don't know, dude cheated or something. I don't know. So she comes into this new relationship, but the insecurities and all that kick in because she thinks that dude is gonna do the same thing as the last dude. So yeah, stuff like that, that makes relationships fail.
And realizing that what happened in your previous relationship, you can't carry that shit over. It's not T-Mobile minutes. You can't do that. The Great Darkness said to the question, is lack of trust a problem? She said, hell the fuck yes, and is contemplating as to why. Michael?
If you can't trust the person you with, not only is that an issue in itself, but it causes stress because you're always worrying that they're going to do something, or they're going to screw up something, or for instance, I was in a relationship where this individual would say they would be going this one place, but then I found out later they were at some other place. And some things went down there that just weren't right, pretty much. And so what ended up, and so it began to weigh on me over the next few weeks and the months that, every time this individual went somewhere, like, was she where she said she was? And that just bothered me, and that causes stress. And so that, we talk about how it damages relationship. That damages relationship as well as you, health-wise. So you don't want to have to worry whether your girlfriend, boyfriend, or whoever is just, not where they supposed to be, lying to you, or seeing somebody else. You don't want that kind of worry and stress because it damages your health as well. So trust is huge in a relationship.
And I think that the lack of it, especially, okay, Dark says, I was getting accused of cheating and leaving them for another for the longest. So I got out of that. Plus, it was verbally abusive. It was a verbally abusive relationship, and turned out the insecurity was in himself because he turned out gay and found a lover. And you know what? That too, when you have someone who does not trust you, and this also goes into deeper things. When you're constantly, if you're checking someone's phone all the time, if you're checking where they're going all the time, like, it's one thing, there's normal jealousy or whatever, but if you think that every person that person is looking at, that they are thinking of fucking them, you need to step back and reevaluate yourself. Then you need to step back and reevaluate your relationship, because that shows a deeper situation than just your relationship, because normal people do not go to that level. You know what I'm saying? It's normal people, a normal view on if there's a lack of trust. If you don't want to be with me, or if I feel like you don't want to be with me and you're not proving any different, then I'm good. Because relationships ain't about two people that need each other. You know what I'm saying? It's about two people that want each other. So it's if you don't want me, then that's cool. You don't have to go and push yourself to that extreme. And if you got somebody pushing themselves to that extreme, that has nothing to do with your relationship. That has something to do with that person having a problem that's more than maybe you want to deal with. And speaking on that, when my next point was hold on. Dark says, I just can't. I was raised not to cheat. I, as a person, feel it is extremely disrespectful, and I cannot and wouldn't be in that situation. And like you said, ding, if you do not want a nigga, I'm gone. I hate wasted time. I cannot get back. Oh, I hate wasting time. I cannot get back. And I'll be damned if I was it on a fool. Wasted. Okay, she'd be damned if she wasted on a fool. And I agree more now than ever about letting people waste your time and affecting your life when you should have just been gone, and you should have just not even let somebody affect you like that. And that's another thing I was thinking of. When you have a person who's looking to the other person for happiness or emotional stability. And I wanted to point out that there's a difference between emotional stability and emotional support, because you want that significant other to have emotional support, you know, to be your emotional support, but your emotional stability is on you. You should not be looking to another person for happiness or stability overall. And what do you guys think about that?
I'll let Mark say what he gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, that's an overall thing, not just in emotion, but like period. You want a person to be stable, because I mean, the tides shift throughout a relationship. I mean, finances switch up sometimes, health switches up sometimes, and you don't want to come into a relationship where, like you were saying before, you have to give more than you're receiving, because that creates an imbalance, and that's even in the emotional department. I mean, if you're constantly giving out support to try to stabilize this individual, I mean, it's going to drain you. Yes. So you want them to be stable. I understand there are things like a death in the family that can destabilize somebody. You want to give them that support to get back to stability. So I understand exactly what you're saying when you say, you know, give that support, but you don't want to have to be the one to stabilize. But right. I mean, I understand, like, yeah. So there will be situations that may destabilize them to get them back, but I mean, be that support, because people are going to go through things.
Right. How about you, Renegade?
So like I said, I've only been in one relationships in my life so far, but I have seen through other people's relationships, even though I haven't experienced that. You know, I'm gonna say this: anybody in the comment section saying, "Oh, you only been through one relationship, you know what you're talking about?" Do I gotta be on crack to know what the side effects of crack would do to you? So I ain't trying
it
to.
helps. I'm playing. I'm playing. No, you don't. The answer is no.
This is people in the comment section, so if I see anybody in the comment section saying that, I'm blocking and deleting that comment. Cause just like I said, do I gotta experience stupid things to know what stupid things feel like? I ain't finna do all that. And I definitely ain't doing no crack, cause crack is whack.
Crack is whack, Bobby. Crack is a whack.
But yo, like what you just said, Renegade, I was telling my kids the other night, I was like, my grandmother was telling me when I was younger, learn from other people's mistakes because you won't live long enough to make them all yourself. So yeah, you can learn from other people's mistakes without going through those mistakes.
Yep.
I don't have to shove my nose in shit to know it stank. I get you. But and that actually leads into another segment because I'm a writer, so I just boom, boom, boom. But lack of appreciation, and this was a huge thing that I was thinking about. Looking for more or better, and then also neglecting what the fuck you have. Because this is the thing. I think that there are some people who are in decent relationships. So we're not talking about situations where there's crazy lack of trust and maybe somebody's just kind of bored. I think that one thing you need to evaluate before you think to yourself like, oh, this person ain't this person ain't that. What is that person though? Like, the world is so focused on negative. Why are we not consciously making effort to think positively? And we can do that with people too. We can make a conscious effort to be like, what is this person doing that's good? You know what I'm saying? What is this person doing that outweighs the bad? And then in just consistent moments as you go forward, taking those moments and being like, you know what? I'm so happy to just be sitting here with you right now because you're kind of the shit. Like, at least that's how I am in relationships. Like, I'm just open and fluid. So if I'm with somebody, every time I talk to you, I'm gonna be excited. Or, most, it's 80% of the time, or if you do something, it could be mediocre. I'm gonna rally you up like you just did all the things at once. And it was crazy because my friend Proof made this statement one time. He was talking about teenagers. So we were talking about my younger sister and his son. But when, we kind of look and see when there's a disconnect with teenagers, and you can apply the same in a relationship. And it's because when we're kids, we're attracted to that positivity, that loudness, that light. So, kids like loud toys, kids like clapping and celebrating, and when kids do good things, we're like, yay, you did amazing, and there's that excitement. When we're adults, we don't stop liking those things. That's why gamers do what the fuck we do, because we like that things. It gives us that same energy. I feel like if we applied that to people and did that in relationships, we would get that same energy, that same fix that we get from being celebrated or playing a game or having a good time. We're going to get that, and that source of that is going to be from our partner, and that's going to bring it out in us. It's you can't be in a room full of people laughing and not even think about it. You know what I mean? Eventually you're going to break a stone. So I don't know. I just think that that's one thing. God damn it. Appreciating the moments and appreciating the person, not for what you want them to be, but who they actually are and what they actually bring to the table. I think that's invaluable in a relationship. What do you guys think?
One of the things I heard early on in my relationship was, hey, you're boring. And I had to break it down boring, first off, what's fun and what's boring is an opinion. Somebody might truly enjoy reading a book. Somebody might really enjoy board games. It goes back to the individuality and respecting and appreciating that individuality of that individual. And furthermore, like he needs to be able to make me laugh and stuff like that. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I'm not a comedian. I said, but if you want to have like a deeper relationship, I said, how about this? I said, how about we go watch a comedian together and laugh together, and we can cherish that moment of laughter with each other. I said, I don't have to be the one who makes you laugh, but we can be in situations where we can both be laughing together. Like you were just saying.
Each other laugh.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I don't have the sense of humor that makes you laugh, but I'm just saying we can be in situations together where we are laughing together. And that's what I was saying. Like, we don't always have that complete package. So appreciating what that individual does have and what they do bring to the table is good. But I mean, if you want that extra, maybe y'all can, like I just said, want somebody who makes you laugh, or how about we just laugh together at somebody else? How about if you want somebody who's fun, how about we just go find something that's fun that we both enjoy together and just have fun in that moment, in that situation. So we don't rely on, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So we are not relying on that individual to bring something that they weren't blessed with, or they weren't given or gifted.
But what you're saying, I feel like, because with me, one of my things is like I have to be able to laugh with you, to you, about you, all that. Like, laughter has to be a part of my everyday life, and if you're trying to be a part of that everyday life, you need to bring something to the table, because I'm gonna be trying to make you laugh. I need you to be doing the same thing for me. But
Yeah,
I think what you're talking about, thank you. But I'm thinking, like, if that is something that a person requires, like myself, then if you meet somebody and they're not making you laugh, don't fuck with them. Don't pursue that person unless you are already willing to give that expectation up, or that want up, for whatever amazingness they are bringing you. Because I mean, to get into a relationship and then be like, you don't make me laugh, that's fucked up. Because it's like, you knew I didn't make you laugh to begin with. So were you expecting me to just grow an extra funny bone? It don't work like that. And I mean, I think that's a part of the first stages. And just, yeah. So that's all I'm saying about that.
Okay.
And Dark says,
I'm sorry.
she's just funny altogether. She ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Reggae.
Ever feeling that when we not talking, I feel like you just scheming behind the scenes trying to figure out a way to make me laugh. Like, just bust out laughing one day.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to laugh, damn it. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like people expect too much out of another person. Like, they expect them to be a certain way, whether it comes to looks, personality, charisma, and all that. Me, myself, I'm a serious dude. I'm not a comedian. Only time I really make people laugh is it's situational. Like, it's either something that would happen in real life, in the video game, or something I would say in a certain way. Cause sometimes I just make people laugh and I'm not even trying. I'm like, okay, didn't think that was funny, but alright. Yes, like I said, I like, video games and all that. I used to be like different back then, somewhat more energetic, but now I'm like calmer. I just don't, read information and all that. But I don't mind, doing certain things, like more exciting things. I don't mind that. But I ain't bungee jumping off of no mountain. Forget that. I ain't doing that. sitting at the cabin reading a book. We're safe.
So,
Me.
I just have one more point, and I'm gonna have to jump. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Sorry.
4 a.m. is calling my name. But
Okay.
I really wanted to get this one out because I see this so much, and because I do hang out with a lot of dudes, I hear this so much. Mind games and dating tricks are the devil. Are the devil. When you are, like messing, sorry, darkness, Jesus. She's funny, but when you are talking to a person, like things like the silent treatment, that I'm not texting them before they text me, or I'm gonna drop the ball on this to show them how upset I am, or the whole I'm not contacting this person for 3 days, like trying to punish people by withdrawing affection and emotion. Don't do that in your relationships. It will kill your shit. Anything good that you have will die because resentment will take its place. Because people do not, just like people do not respond well to torment. And that's exactly what it is. You are purposefully tormenting that person to get what you want from them. It is a very common tool to manipulate someone, and that's not right. You don't want, like, the silent treatment. Say you and your significant other get upset at each other, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, bet, and you won't respond to their text, and then you don't say anything to them till the next morning. If you love that person, why the fuck would you do that? Because you know that they're sitting there on the other side of the phone upset all night long, worried about you and your feelings, or being mad at you and your feelings, or feeling neglected and feeling unwanted and feeling guilty, or whatever the case may be. You purposely did that to someone that you claim to love, or that you claim to want to be with, or that you claim to cherish, and all that other type of stuff. That's not love. And if you're doing that in your relationship, you need to stop. If you have a problem with someone, you just say what your problem is. And if that person does not receive it, and that person doesn't care about it, then you know that you shouldn't be with that person. Because, again, with the things that are good for a relationship, if that person is feeling you on that level and they're the right type of person, they're going to have all those things, which means when you say you got a problem, they're going to care about that shit, and they're going to fix it without you having to choke the shit out of them for it. You know what I mean? And you can express yourself without going outrageous. I'm the queen of sending a text, be like, this is how I feel, this is what you did, this is how I feel about it, can we fix it? Boom. I send them to my mom on a regular basis. But just, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be dramatic, it doesn't have to be extra. You don't, and that comes with the real communication part. If you just take what we think we know relationships should be like, and just reach out and connect with another person, even if they don't reach out first. Sometimes it takes a person a while to, like, shake off what the world puts on us, and let their guards down. But once you connect like that, then it's just like, it's just simple. So games are unnecessary, and tricks and dating tips and all these things, you know what I'm saying? All that's unnecessary, because honestly, it's not doing you any good for your relationship. It may give you instantaneous gratification or whatever, or instant gratification, my bad, but it's not long term. It's poison, straight up poison. How do y'all feel about it? I love you. I gotta go.
All right.
Bye.
Okay. Okay, so once we said we gotta say on this last statement, I'm in the podcast.
Alright.
So, Mark, I'll let you say what you gotta say first, man.
Yeah, the issue with that, like, with today's society and how it is I run into a lot of people who are literally just taught that. I mean, it's like a book. They are taught that these are things you do. And one of the things my wife had talked to her about, one of her aunties, was that you test a man to see if he'll hit you. So like one day I was cooking dinner, and like I made some burgers, and I called myself being kind. I fixed her a plate. Came over to her, I handed her the plate. She grabs the burger, she looks at it, she takes the bun off the top, she sticks her finger down the center of the patty, pulls her finger out, looks inside it, throws the bun on the plate, and says, "I don't want it." And I was so pissed. Like, you didn't even have to touch it if you didn't want it. But like, she later on, because she did a series of these things, and later on she said, you know, my auntie said, you know, you do that to a man, test them to see if they'll hit you, see if they're the type of men that will hit you. I'm like, you didn't have to do all that. Like, if he gonna hit you, he gonna hit you on the slightest thing. He not gonna sit there and just let you push him. You know what I'm saying? So these people are taught these things. So that's why they do them, and like, I don't really know how to fix that. What about you?
Yeah, man, that's another reason why relationships be failing. People just be getting mad and over just the most slightest things, man. Just like, it could be something so, you know, minor. Y'all could just talk it out. Like, it doesn't have to go that far to where it has to go to like violence or silent treatment and all that. It's like, it's not just it's just people in general that are just like that. Oh my,
You know, true.
goodness gracious. It's just a small, there ain't nothing to get mad about. Why are y'all mad over there? Makes no sense to me whatsoever. It just don't make sense to me.
Hey.
And plus, you know, certain people, they get mad when you don't respond to them a certain time. Me, I don't care when you, I don't care what time you respond. As long as it's not, you know, like 6 months later, I'm like, okay. Because what that tells me is like, okay, I guess they don't want to talk. I guess I ain't gonna talk to them again. That's how I see it. Because I had a friend that, you know, they said they was busy work and all that, but they just took so long to respond. I'm like, and then, you know, as time passed, I'm like, you know what, maybe they just don't want to talk. I'm just not going to send any more messages. Because I don't know when they're going to respond. You know, I don't know when to talk to them. I'm like, you know what, let me just not. And as soon as they ask, why don't I, you know, continue talking to her, I just told them the truth. I say, you just seem so busy. I don't know when to talk to you. Takes you like 6 months to respond to something, so. Yep.
Yeah.
After that, we ain't never talked again, so. That's like, oh well. Oh well. But anyway, people, that is the podcast. If you like the content on this channel, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to get notified of future videos. This is Renegade X, the one that you love to hate. We out here.